Hello, 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 my loyal Cosimaniacs. I know it's been a while since I've done a video. Well, I haven't had a lot to talk about. Well, not that I didn't have anything to talk about. I've just been so goddamned busy. You know the old saying, no rest for the wicked? No rest for this wicked. We finally got our COVID vaccination, at least the first dose. And as you can see, I am still alive, and the nanobots do not seem to be interfering with the computer. And if really anybody wants to trace where I am, why would they bother? Yeah. So, anyway, turn that off. I was testing to make sure the connection worked. Anywho, tonight I'm going to talk about dealing with a problem. And it happens to all kinds of people, not just me. There you are, you get up in the morning, you're half asleep, you open your email, and there's the usual, please help me, Uncle Chucky, help me, Uncle Chucky, help me, Uncle Chucky, I need to get my ex-girlfriend back, Uncle Chucky, I need to get my ex-boyfriend back, Uncle Chucky, which human do I sacrifice? After a while, it's kind of, And so you go through all this, and you try to answer them, and you be nice, and, And then you get somebody saying, I have images of you watching porn, and if you don't send me $400 million in Bitcoin, I will send them to your friends. As if my friends would be surprised at me watching porn. My friends would have a good laugh. After all, why do you think I have this weird look on my face all the time? And normally you just laugh at it and let them go. Of course, they never do because they don't have any images and it's all bull. But every once in a while, you really want to have some fun at their expense. And they always boast, well, you can't trace me, blah, blah, blah. I don't have to trace you. I don't have to know where you are. I don't have to know anything about you. All I need is the email. Now, let me explain about this email. As you can see, it's utterly illegible. Basically, what you do is you take a screenshot of the email. You don't download it. You take a screenshot. And the reason you take a screenshot is you want to print it up. You want it, and because you want to print it up, you want it as a graphic so you can manipulate it and shrink it down so it fits on the machine. We got the whole sheet of paper. Oh, God. Easier to do it this way. What you're doing is you're taking the energy of this witness. Now, little history behind that. We'll go back to the late 90s, mid-late 90s, around 1997. And getting witness samples off of email or off of chat rooms was considered impossible. They were wrong. What I thought, let's see what happens. After all, the person's putting energy into this. They're putting emotion into what they're writing. That's got to be carried. That information has got to be carried. Well, printers in those days, you had dot matrix, black and white. Okay, there were no color printers, there were no inkjets, there were no lasers. Well, there were lasers, but they cost more than your house. I mean, it wasn't practical. All right, you were stuck with an inkjet printer. Well, that shouldn't be a problem because you can still print out, what they write. Not an issue, right? Okay. It's still going to contain the energy. So the big problem is then, how do you get it to fit on the machine? Because a piece of paper, that's not going to do any good. What you do, so that's where okay, let's take this, make it as a graphic file, and I can shrink it down and just print it up. It doesn't have to be legible, and it certainly wasn't. Well, there was this fellow on Chaos Magic list who was a real pain in the ass, and I decided it was time he was taught a lesson in humility. And he had one, and I would poke at him. I mean, I wouldn't engage in a direct flame war with him. I would tweak him. I would make fun of him, get him more and more upset just for the fun of it. So he would put more energy in. Finally enough. Okay, I'm testing with the pendulum while I'm reading. Okay, I got enough out of this one. Print screen, bang, you know. Now, this fellow, he had two things he was very sensitive about. He was short, and he was bald, quite prematurely bald. So I went to the library and I photocopied a picture of someone with a really bad case of eczema. This was fun. I set up the machine with him, with the witness of the fellow with the eczema on the transmittal side, him on the receiving side. Turn it on, let it go. Fix the rate, let it go. A few days later, he is at some event or other, and all of a sudden he has this glowing red rash on the top of his head. And of course, everyone made fun of him about it. He said, well, that's what you get for annoying Uncle Chucky. So, that's how far back this technique goes. And so when I got here, somebody saying, if you don't give me so many million in Bitcoin, I'll, yeah. Sure you will. Well, I don't have to trace you. I don't have to know who you are. I take this. First, I set up the rate and I'm going to send him some pleasantries. The 10th, my favorite, the 10th Enochian key. The 4th pentacle of Saturn, always fun. And the witness of the poor dumb scumbag who thinks anyone would be dumb enough to send him Bitcoin. I set them, and this is of course the D machine. It's called all kinds of things now, you know, but it's basically the psionic weapon. And we aim it, we tune it, get the relationship between tuning. This is always fun. There are those who go around in the circle, some follow the pentagram. I try to follow the pentagram, but then I get lost sometimes because I'm old and I confuse easily. But anyway, we got this set. And we let fly. His life will become interesting. After all, I'm in the business of doing bad things to good people. Why can't I occasionally do things to people who just aren't quite bad enough? Anyway, this has been your old friend, the nefarious, the arch-fiend, the ill-mannered, the rude, the disrespectful, the whatever, agent of the Antichrist. I keep forgetting that. I still want top billing. Uncle Chucky. Have a thoroughly and delightfully evil evening.